We just went to shop here at the Loblaws. I'm going to show you what we bought. We bought two items. A bag of onions for $8. This bag here. Nothing special, just red onions. $8. That's almost over $1 per onion. The next item we bought was formula, baby formula, something that's very essential. On sale, this is over $50. Two items, $60. Essentials for families. The reality is, you know this, when you go into a grocery store and you're paying more than ever before and getting less than ever before, you know on the other side of that, you're getting ripped off. You're getting ripped off because the rules have been written by Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre, by Liberals and Conservatives, to allow rich CEOs to rip off Canadians. And I know you feel that. You're right. This is not your fault. You're working harder than ever before, but you feel like you're falling behind more than ever before. And it's because the deck is stacked against you. The scales are against you. You've got all the power in the hands of corporations and CEOs that can rip you off, and families are feeling the price. They're feeling the squeeze. We want to change that. We want to change the rules to put people first. One example of how the rules are stacked against you, how the scale is so shifted against you, is behind me. We were at Loblaws when we went shopping, one of the largest corporate grocery stores in Canada. We just found out that there was a lawsuit, a class action, where a settlement of $500 million was made in the bread price fixing scandal. But what does that actually mean? Well, first of all, large corporate grocery stores like Loblaws and big bread producers like Canada Bread worked together to jack up the price of bread, ripping off Canadians. They were allowed to do that because it was not against the law at the time. The laws allowed that to happen for so long. They weren't investigated, they weren't stopped, so they were allowed to rip off Canadians. You want to know how much Canadians were ripped off? To the tune of $5 billion. The rules written by Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre and their parties allowed the penalty for doing that. The biggest penalty that was levied was for Canada Bread Company was $50 million. That's like if someone steals $50 from you and you only get back 5 cents. That is ridiculous. And it is ridiculous that citizens had to fight in court to get justice. That is not the way things should work. The rules should be there to protect Canadians. But the rules written by Liberals and Conservatives, by Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre, have allowed big corporations to rip you off. And there is no real penalties. We want to change that. We want severe sanctions, severe penalties. If a corporation rips you off and they make a benefit, like in this case of $5 billion, then we should be able to impose triple the benefit that they made as a penalty. $15 billion of fines would really deter these companies from ripping you off. That's what we're talking about. We want to change the rules so that we impose a price cap on food essentials. These companies are making record profits. They should not be able to rip off Canadians. So what we're saying is, Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre, you both have failed. When Pierre Poilievre was in power, when Conservatives in power, that's when the bread price fixing scandal was happening. And Justin Trudeau has seen it through and hasn't done anything to increase the penalties for these corporations that when they rip you off. So we're saying we need to have severe penalties. We need a price cap on food essentials. We need to make sure people can afford their groceries.
Is that possible to happen?
Now, Justin Trudeau had the opportunity. He could have done it. We had to force them. We had to force them to bring in changes to make price gouging illegal. It wasn't against the law until we forced them to change it. That's an example of how we can change the rules. But let's be clear about Pierre Poilievre. He wants to throw fuel on the fire of corporate greed. He wants to let these corporations rip you off even more. And we know why. The corporate or the Conservative Party's director for the Conservative Party of Canada is a lobbyist for the largest corporation in groceries, Loblaws. So they're not going to take on their corporate buddies. They're not going to stop them from ripping you off, but we are. We have a plan. We want to take on corporate greed and lower the cost of your groceries.